G'day, mate, and welcome to Friday Facts 300, the special edition. I've got Mojo with me. Hey, you mate.
Hello.
Was this what we were expecting? That's the first question.
Not really.
No, no.
Admittedly, I didn't know what to expect. So it could have
I
been anything.
I didn't know what to expect either, but this was not it. I was expecting, I don't know, like some major feature reveal, or maybe a loosely locked in launch date, which they'll slide past because they have a habit of doing that. Um,
Hey, see, the trick is out now.
What, that they slide past their release dates?
No, that they don't have anything to talk about as far as the game goes this week.
Oh, yeah, that's entirely possible too.
Well,
Um,
nothing's really happened this week.
well, we had 50 coming up,
Yeah,
and
which is true.
I haven't even looked at the patch notes for 50. But maybe trains don't break anymore. But yeah, so we got a special edition of Factorio Friday Facts. I really strongly recommend that people go read this one if you really want to find out more about the devs themselves, because they provide a lot of background information, a lot of links. I think I've spent about 2 hours on the Friday Facts wandering through people's backstory and links provided so far.
All the stuff going on. I haven't even really started going through everything.
There's a lot of information here, which is good. It's really different. So, being that this is a special edition, we're celebrating and managed to write something about the game development Factorio every single Friday and reach the number 300. So that's 300 Fridays in a row, which in itself is amazing. It's almost 6 years worth, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
there's 52 Fridays in the year.
yeah. So almost 6 years worth. So that means we've got another one coming up in a couple of weeks, which will be 6 years worth of Friday Facts. There you go.
Yeah.
That's when they'll announce a release date that they'll slip past.
Or they'll do a special edition on the on that many Friday Facts.
Yes, yes. Although I did have somebody in my Discord mention a breakdown of the roadmap, complete and not complete stuff, and discussing how long that'll take to finish. That's probably, if they listen to this video, that's what I'd really recommend for Friday Facts. What, 308, 306, whatever it is, maths.
Yeah, nah. Maths.
Yeah, maths. Yep. So, but yeah, hopefully they won't get to another round number like this before finishing the game, and I really agree because the next one's going to be 400, and that's 2 years away. But it is Woo,
Yeah.
so you never know. But yeah, they asked everybody on the team the following questions: What was your favorite video game? What'd you do before Factorio? What do you do in the team? What's your favorite part of Factorio? And anything else important about you? So I'm going to do the same. Mojo, what were your favorite games whilst growing up?
Depends when you say. If it was early 90s, it would be Railroad Tycoon. Late 90s, you'd be leaning onto Doom, Duke 3D. And then early 2000s, TA. Late 2000s, what's it called? Battlefield 2.
So,
Then
yep.
Minecraft. It's
No.
continuously going.
No. See, I can name everything the same up until didn't do Minecraft, didn't do Battlefield because I suck at first-person shooters. We were talking about this beforehand. Really,
Yeah.
my gameplay is anything that stresses the CPU but not the GPU is definitely my sort of game. It was all the RTSs from June, not June 2000. What was the one before that? The early
June, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was June. It had some title attached to it. So the early June, Command and Conquer, Red Alert, Warcraft 3 Tower Defenses.
Oh, yeah, that was another one that I did a lot of.
Yeah, Civilization 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever version we're up to.
I never played 2 and 3. 2, 3, and 5, actually.
I did 1 and 2. Hell, I even played, was it called Risk? I think it was called Risk on Mac.
Oh, Risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a Warcraft 3 map for Risk as well.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah.
I got something to do afterwards. Find Warcraft 3
I'm
and
terrible
reinstall
at it. I hate it.
And what is your favourite part of Factorio, Mojo?
Favorite part of Factorio? Oh, it's a challenge between the trains and the combination.
See, I hate both of those. My favourite part has to be just production lines in general.
I would have said the decon planner.
Oh, yeah. The decon planner with the upgrade planner. Yeah, a big fan of those two. No, mine's production lines. I love building, and it doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't have to be even to ratio. It's just going from product A to B to C to D, and going from like 15 different inputs to one final end product. And a lot of times, spaghettiing it through the base, because that's just how my brain worked. I needed that item from that end of the bus and that item from that end of the bus, so I just built it somewhere in the middle and just ran long belts here, there, and everywhere.
Works. What's the issue?
It works. There is no issue as far as I'm concerned, but there are lots of people that disagree with me, and they want everything on a neat, straight bus. Everything comes out of the bus, it gets upgraded to the next level of part, then put back onto the bus, and I'm like, your bus is 40 lanes wide and has so much stuff just buffering on the bus, whereas mine's uses half the amount of belts and looks like a mess, but it works. It works.
And I'm pretty sure it does a bow tie, that belt of gears there. Bow tie, but it gets there.
Sometimes, yeah. So we got Kovrex. Now, Kovrex is the man behind the machine. He's basically the guy that started Factorio, along with, there's a couple of other founding members, I guess. So he started programming when he was about 11. He did a couple of little things. Simplistic animal simulation with DNA evolution. Maybe that's coming for the project after Factorio.
Maybe.
But he also did BW API, which is a Brood Wars API. And I think that was really his claim to fame before Factorio, that he made an AI for StarCraft that would really actually made the StarCraft AI a lot better and would have potentially two bots fight one another. So yeah,
that was something that I remember hearing about a long time ago. That's what I remember hearing about.
Well, he's been working on Factorio for 7 years, so that would have been prior to 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Back when StarCraft was
Shiz.
It was popular right the way up until StarCraft 2 got released. So, back when it was popular forever ago, but then still recently, I guess.
As popular as it's ever been.
Yeah, pretty much. So Factorio has been made for 7 years. I basically did everything at the start. And now his role is mainly what people would call an approver. He's the I guess the firewall, the gate at the end, where everything has to go past his eyes before he goes, yep, that can go into the final build, or no, go work on it more. It needs more tweaks, it needs this change, it needs that change, which is perfect as the man behind the machine, so to speak. It does mean that things are now Kovrex approved, which I guess is a in-office joke. He's also doing the project management around the place, and he is still trying to answer questions about probably early code, because as we found the other Friday facts with the trains and the logic and the trains and the signals and taking a block, reserving a block and unreserving a block, nobody's touched that since version 10 or 11.
And early code is usually very questionable.
Yeah, and probably has no comments in it because the code base is not big enough that you actually need any sort of documentation around it. It was built, it did its job, and that's it. And
also the design specifications it was written for might have completely changed since.
And were probably also not written down.
More so, yes. Particularly early on in a project, as that a lot of these things would not be written down, or even have some kind of specification. It's just do a thing.
Yeah. That, and in the early days, remember, it was a team of 3. So no, there would have been like lunch talk, and everybody catches up on what everybody else is doing, and that's it. But yeah, Kovrex has been around for long enough. We've actually got a couple of photos of Kovrex going from the slightly bigger Kovrex to the slightly smaller Kovrex to the current Kovrex, which is like half the man it used to be. It's the Kovrex de-enrichment process. Yeah. So there's that on there. I send a link of this to Mojo because I forgot to do that beforehand. Yep.
One job.
More than one job. I had to read through this and highlight this. So then we've got Thomas. He joined Kovrex really early as a core developer, working on many of the basic areas, and working on it from scratch. He used to do a little bit of everything, from the development to the web page to the testing, the crowdfunding back in the day when Factorio was crowdfunded on Indiegogo from memory, and community manager. So he did absolutely everything.
So he was as well as the coding, is doing all of that
Administration?
community management, which is
Yeah, a nightmare because I've done it before. It's interesting. So yeah, now he's doing less code and more executive sort of job. So yeah, he's mostly out of the code base. And then we have Albert, who don't stare into his eyes. That's how he steals all your blueprints. He grew up basically watching.
He's an oldie.
He is. He names all these old games, and some
The
of
hyperlinks too, which is interesting because I opened up the Pac-Man one, and it's like an 8-hour long video of Pac-Man.
Oh wow! Okay,
Something.
okay. June 2000. Is June 2000 the one I was looking for?
I
It
think
is.
it was.
Yep. June 2000 was the original June.
Oh yeah, it was too.
And
It's
then
the same as Warcraft, the same sort of engine as Warcraft 1, but I think it's slightly less sophisticated from memory.
predates Warcraft. It predates Command and
Yeah,
Conquer.
predates it.
It was the first real RTS game, and supported multiplayer from memory. Maybe it didn't.
I don't remember if it did or not.
I know Command and Conquer did. I have a feeling I played multiplayer, but maybe I didn't. Anyway, he's been around for ages, and he really cares about the graphics. He has obviously played everything. But yeah, for him, the magic was seeing something happen on the screen that was animated and he had complete control over. So now his main roles in Woob are he's in charge of the art department. Responsible for the aesthetics of Factorio, designing sprites, yep, I could read that earlier, I can't now. 3D modeling, animating, coordinating artists, balancing look, style, and usability, designing the GUI, making icons, graphic design, and drinking lots of coffees. And having an engineer smack you in the head repeatedly. Who still has a pickaxe, just for the record. Then we've got Twinson.
Oh, just before that, it's just as a note for people, it's worth checking out the Doom Chiquito. There's a link to a video there. It's worth having a look.
Okay, I don't.
Oh yeah,
remember.
he also mentions Carmageddon as another good game.
Oh yeah, Carmageddon. This again, like going through this list. I didn't play any of the MSX or the SNES. I never owned a SNES, but I did play Super Mario's, Blades of Steel, Manic Mansion, so PC games, yep, Dune, yep, Syndicate, yep, Alone in the Dark, yep, Quake, Doom, Carmageddon, Half-Life, Flashback. I don't remember Flashback.
I don't remember that one. I know the name, but I don't remember.
I got an ad on YouTube. You failed, YouTube. You failed. Oh god, it's a really old side scroller. I think I played it. It was in the same sort of era as Alone in the Dark, which was a horrible nightmare of a game. But yeah, so we've got Twinson.
That's basically Prince of Persia.
Around the same vintage. I think Prince of Persia.
Movement's the same. It might be the same engine. Anyway,
yeah.
Twinson.
Yeah. He talked about nothing but computer games at work. Prior to working at Factorio or at Woob, he was heavily into Open Transport Tycoon. So a couple of his friends at work or co-workers mentioned you should check out Factorio. Went home, downloaded the demo, and was probably version 10 at the time. It was 10 p.m. I think I played the demo and go to sleep. As you would guess, got the demo, immediately got the full game, ended up playing till 5 a.m., which nobody has ever done ever in their lifetime of playing Factorio.
No, never.
Never
happened
never.
before.
He started reading Friday Facts. One of the posts they mentioned they're hiring. Even though I never used C+ outside university, he relearned it over the course of a week and applied and then moved to Prague and has been working at Woob for the last 4 years. So his most notable contribution was the Circuit Network.
Hooray!
I hate you. I hate you, Twits. Hate you. I get it wrong all the time. I can work it out. It just takes time.
Somehow you manage to wire the red wire to the green wire, don't you?
Oh, I wire all the wires. I mix the red and the green and then with yellow. I don't know how I do it. It's special. But I hate the circuit. I can get there in the end. It just takes time. And 9 times out of 10... Yep.
I know what happens.
What?
What you do is the red thing connects to your wristwatch.
Okay.
Nope. No bites.
No bites.
Nope.
Red thing to the wristwatch?
Red thing is connected to my wristwatch. Uh-oh.
I made you sing. It's fine. Yeah, so no, I hate the circuit network, and I think when it comes down to it, 9 times out of 10, I can do what I want without smarts in half the time, and it just means that I avoid the circuit network. I can use it if I have to, but 9 times out of 10, I can do it with belts. So yeah, he's worked on the trailers, which I have to say, like the Factorio. The current Factorio trailer, which Dead Set, go look at it on YouTube. It's really, really well done.
Is that the version 12 one? Or version 11 one?
It is out of date, definitely. But the music, the timing, it's a really, really good trailer. I have not stolen the music before to use in the background of any of my videos ever. So yeah, and he's got 2 issues. He's trying to find someone special. So if you know someone special, you need to email Twinson and send them over. At the same time, he's fixing a serious multiplayer issue we call the Mega Packet, which we will find out about in a future Friday Facts.
Ooh, maybe that'll be something to check out.
Yeah, I don't know what a Mega Packet is, but it's obviously a bad thing. So we got Poncilla, who started to learn programming early and then learnt Pascal and Delphi, which are both horrible languages, and then tried to prove the world that you don't need C or C++.
They're both related to each, because Delphi is object-oriented Pascal.
Yeah, they're both related languages, and they're horrible, and I hate them. And I have enough problems with C and C++, which is much easier. But yeah, he gradually started to be interested in high-performance computing, and he circled back to programming in C++ and even assembly, which is really, really, really hard.
It's fun.
It's really, really hard. It is super, super optimized code, but it's really, really hard. So Poncella is the guy that often, if something's broken, Poncella black magic makes it work, and nobody asks how. It just works, and we just accept it. I think that came up in an earlier Friday Facts at some stage because he just made magic happen. So he started playing Factorio in about version 11 because he didn't join the team early, even though he's from Prague and decided to go with... He didn't like the game to start with, and then tried to get hired by a AAA company, and then went and did other stuff, and then became a rank 68 monk in a Greater Rift seasonal hardcore leaderboards, which, I can...
Yes.
I have never wasted time doing that myself. So he looked at Factorio again in a version 11, progressed through the campaign, started to like the game. It was much more than top-down Minecraft, which is what I thought when I first played it for the first time, which is very much how it felt in the earlier days. And he's really, really glad that he got to join the team all the way back then in version 11, which would have been years ago.
2015.
Oh, there you go. Mojo knows all the things. That's why we keep him around.
Apparently.
And then, Okay, so I was smart. I put on this app that reads voices. Andra. There we go. Reads words on the screen.
Andre Mezrak.
There you go. See? Again, that's why we keep Mojo around. Who played June 2? Maybe June 2 is the original.
One or the other.
I'm really curious now. I'm going to look on the other screen.
I think June 2000 was the original.
Oh, no. June 2 is the original.
Wait, June 2 is the original?
Yep. 2000 was the remake.
Oh, it's a remake. That's why.
Yeah.
I
So
was like, hang on.
I've got the
Didn't
picture
make
now.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah,
June
Superplex.
June 2 was the original, and June 2000 was the remake. Superplex. I don't remember Superplex.
It's a weird game.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Oh god, yeah, I remember that too. Yep, so I'm of the same vintage. So's Mojo. An F-19 stealth fighter, which I had to look up, and I'm like, oh god, I remember that too. Yep.
All I know of F-19 Stealth Fighter is there's an ad for it on the credits of Railroad Tycoon.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
So he discovered Factorio when working through his computer science mastery. Sticky time, the game didn't exactly help my education. Never does. And when he noticed a programming position was open, it was right here in Prague, he applied. Over the years, he's worked on the Beta AI multiplayer and networking code and wrote the code for rendering the technology tree, which is great because lots of modders use that code to rearrange the tree all the time. In fact, because of the way it's written, it's actually really, really easy to write your own mods into the tech tree. Turns out
It is, yes.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way or the easy way. Our seating. So our seating, we know the most about our seating. He's actually based in the US because he streams Factorio code on Twitch, and you get to see him yell at bugs for potentially up to hours at a time.
He's also Zoidberg, as it turns out.
No. I actually have a picture of our seating. He is that one there. Which is
there's a few pictures popped up saying this is what he actually looks like.
Yeah, well, he's on the factorio.com/team page.
Yes.
So yeah, I saw Factorio. One of the people was I watched on stream was I watched on Twitch was streaming it. The guy was using lots of mods, complained about the performance. Basically meant that our seating had his in because he loves optimizations.
Yeah, that's actually quite a thing. Is he bought the game just because the performance was annoying him that much?
Yeah, which is really, really weird. But like, we have to thank him from the bottom of our hearts because we've gone from a factory that would struggle to do, like in the early days, maybe
1 rocket a minute was a struggle.
Oh, I'm going back even further. Like 100 science per minute was like just like that was it. And now we're talking like 4,000 science per minute. No problem. Like, yeah, whack that out.
Well, before 15, it was rockets a minute.
It
rather
was.
Than science a minute.
Yeah, but even then, like getting to a 1 rocket per minute in 14 was hard.
Mine ran at 17 UPS.
Yeah, mine ran at 30, 25, somewhere like that. Yeah, rockets per minute was hard. At the moment, I'm going for like 25 rocket per minute, which I should be able to get to 20-ish at 60 UPS. Just running the numbers. I haven't actually built it yet, but in theory, it should be possible. So yeah, he started out actually as a modder and then asked Woob whether he could have back-end access to, read access to the code so he could better optimize things hopefully in the back end. So we did a couple of pull requests, sent it through a few messages to Covrex, who also shares love of optimizations, and then got a job. Basically, I'm going to do this backwards. So 4 years and 304 days ago, days after Covrex gave me a chance to prove myself, I still love working on optimizations. The fact that he can work out and know exactly when he got that hire 4+ years ago is amazing-ish.
Just look up the date when he got it.
I know, but it's not the first time he's mentioned exactly how long he's worked at Woob.
Yeah.
It's almost every... Oh, no, I wouldn't say every time because he pops up in the Friday Facts quite often. That's the thing. Some of these people that we're reading about in the Friday Facts pop up in this Friday Facts pop up often. Others I've never heard from before. Or they've had like a one line in something. So, yeah. So he started working there 4 years and 304 days ago. He loves doing the optimizations and... This one. At some level, it reduced how much I enjoy other games because I want to go fix their problems. However, it gives me better appreciation when I find a game that does it right. I even tried to contact some other indie-style games, see if they would let me attempt performance improvements on their games. So far, I've only had luck with Factorio, which is an interesting way to go around job hires, but I guess it worked.
Yeah, it worked. It's funny, actually. I know he had tried on Prison Architect.
Yep, and
Because that one
Minecraft.
really rubbed him the wrong way.
And
What really
Minecraft.
wound him up. Minecraft? I don't know about Minecraft. Oh, yeah, he did too, didn't he?
He did. He's mentioned it during streams. He's tried to get access. He's tried to offer even to do it for free, to just look at the source code and see what optimizations. They've just said no. Because he is the king of optimizations. Really, really is. And we've read about that in previous Friday Facts, how he's made such a difference. So V, which is Mojo going to pronounce this one, or I'm going to let the computer do it?
Vaclav Bank.
Vaclav. There we go. Okay. Computer agrees with you. There we go.
Hooray.
So he started an Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe. There we go.
Yes.
Which is something Mojo spent a lot of time in as well. Funnily enough,
yes, which is actually funny because I've been playing that since it first came out, actually before it came out, to about 2007. So I stopped playing when Vaclav started playing.
I never played Open TTD. I've played Transport Tycoon Deluxe, but I never played the open version. I even played Transport Tycoon.
So much better. So much stuff in it is automated.
Yeah,
and just so many quality of life things going on in it.
But we've got Factorio now. I've got my fix of automation. So he went from OpenTTD to Factorio. He discovered very, very early it's the type of game he would enjoy, and the graphics carry a very similar way to what he was trying to do in OpenTTD because he was working on mods in that. And the development was happening 100 k's away from him, so it was clear what he needed to do, and he applied. And there's an early picture. If you click on this, it takes you to a Friday Facts 90 something where he was actually hired, and you see a very, very early picture of what he was doing because he's the technical artist. So he plays Factorio a lot, and he does. He is the king of spaghetti bases. And he contributes to the gameplay, balancing the decisions, and game design of new campaigns and introduction. I'm especially happy with the introduction of space science in 15, which made so much of a difference. And the technology changes for 17, and the worm spitter attacks also added in 17, which are, I don't know, the tech tree was a little bit weird to get used to, and I think I prefer it in 17.
Oh yeah, it's much better in 17.
And the worm spitter attacks, I know lots of people out there hate V because of that. It's nice that they don't home anymore, but if you get enough acid on the ground, you're pretty much guaranteed you're dead.
I think it makes combat interesting.
It does.
And it throws a new challenge in, and it actually solves the turret creep problem, and I think that's what really annoys people more than anything. Because people can't be lazy anymore.
Look, you can turret creep everything up to a large worm. And
anything. Then again, at the same time, you can turret creep with artillery turrets.
Yeah, artillery turrets. Or, let's be honest, just carrying more lasers on you and accept that a percentage of them are going to just get blown
losses.
Yeah, just accept the losses. So we have Clonin, who is press community and support manager. He got an early job. So he played Age of Empires 1 and 2. He was mostly the scenario editor.
Funny that, because he's the scenario guy.
Yeah, he is. Clonin actually has a lot of mods on the modding mod portal, and if you look through his list of mods, you can look through a lot of the depreciated mods, I think they're called. Deprecated, yep. And I knew it started with D. And a lot of the old mods he had, like Upgrade Planner, are now part of the base game. Because he's put out a mod, enough people have said, I like it, it's great. And it's slowly been rolled into the base version.
A lot of them, I believe, were intended to be in the base game to start with.
Yeah, but
Upgrade Planner, I know, was always intended to be in.
But then it's got whacked together as a mod that works pretty much how the base game works now for 2-3 versions. Yeah. It only had a minor tweak because in the past you could upgrade planner stuff right in front of you, and it would magically come out of your inventory rather than, and just happen instantly. Whereas now it's all robots, isn't it? Or can you? I don't know. Can you even use Upgrade Planner and have stuff manually be put down with robots without robots? I haven't tested.
Upgrade Planner and manually put down stuff?
Yeah, so if you're standing on belts and you upgrade the belts underneath you, do they magically upgrade, or does it have to be the robots?
Has to be the robots.
Okay, because in the original
No,
Upgrade Planner...
the magic teleport doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, in the old Upgrade Planner, you could upgrade belts on the other side of the map.
Oh, yeah, as long as it's your inventory, it just works. It's funny, he also links to a very specific Zis2 video.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, the one that got him on it from 2014.
Okay. I didn't look. Okay.
So yeah, he's the community manager. He's usually the ones that interfaces with the Reddit. He's the sort of the official interface on Reddit and the forums and such.
Yes. And yeah, I remember the community manager position opening up in 2015. I almost applied for it. I now wish I had. But yeah, so Clonin is basically support and community manager and press. But I imagine his press job's fairly quiet at the moment. But give it another 6 months or so, I can imagine he's going to get hammered. You going to pronounce again, or are we going to let the computer do it?
Computer can do it.
Jitka.
Jitka is the office manager, and I love her title. What's my place in the team? Taking care of quite a broad range of stuff, really. Let's say I'm the team mummy. Does that even make sense? That's probably the best description I can think of. Yep. The one girl in the office, team mummy. Yep. My favorite thing about Factorio is the team behind it. So many great people and so many different personalities. Of course, the butters, of course. I still consider them being cute. Yeah, you say that when you have an army.
She's a character.
Yeah, say that when you have an army of them ripping your face off. Ernestas, is that right?
Ernestas.
Yeah, Ernestas.
Novelistas.
This is why I let Mojo try that stuff. I have the computer do it. That way I don't offend any way the computer does. It's a Chrome extension. It's not my fault. So his early game, he played like all the same games. Cossacks was one that again I played along with Stronghold Crusader. I've actually had somebody request that I do a current series of Stronghold Crusader. We're on 3 now, I think it is.
Hey.
Yeah.
I think I played the demo of that, and it was okay, but I never got into it.
It's actually a good little game. Number 2 was the best one, I think. Stronghold 2, from memory, was the best one. And they have a online version as well, which was...
I was going to say, I think you can still go online.
No, there was a Stronghold like universe or something like that, where you could play, like Risk style. Free to play. Or free to pay, I think it was. So yeah, from the beginning, it was mainly responsible for all the environments, decorations, and background for the game. If by any chance you see an enemy, maybe some tile with decoratives tree, then you probably saw what I work on. But his work is not limited to that. I also work on entities and applications, for example, to prototype new ideas. And dead set, he is the one guy who looks like he's staring deeply into the Factorio, into the monitor, trying to work out somebody else's spaghetti whilst holding a baby. And then we've got Weebags.
Tom Mason. Very normal name. Very, well, not normal, but it's not as much of a mouthful.
No. Easier to pronounce for us poor Australians. So before moving to Prague to work with Weeb on Factorio, I lived in Dublin.
He's the Irishman.
He is the Irishman. I worked for a
company
making a texture for authoring in video games. I also contributed to some open source projects like OpenMW, which I couldn't work out. I don't even think I opened it. And FreeAblo, which I remember is actually a free open source version of Diablo 1, the original game.
Neither of these I knew existed. Even FreeAblo?
FreeAblo?
Not FreeAblo. Open Morrowind. I didn't even know about that.
Is that what OpenMW is?
Yes, Open Morrowind.
Oh wow, okay. FreeAblo. I think currently, last I looked at it, you had to own a copy of Diablo because they still needed some data out of it, but it's getting there slowly. And yeah, I was looking at it for entirely unrelated reasons. So anyway, I know all about Free Hablo, actually. I looked into it recently. So, he's been at Woob since 2017. He's currently working on the campaigns, both the introduction and the main campaign, which, on a completely unrelated story, who was it? Kovacs mentioned They Are Billions as a game that he plays, and they just released a campaign for it. And it's back to the games all these guys have played, like Command & Conquer, Red Alert, June 2, June 2000, which all had a single-player campaign. And it's something I'm really hoping Woob does well, has a really good single-player campaign that takes you through and teaches you the game, as well as gives you some interesting, I guess, missions, combat, some interesting scenarios that you will only find
that
missions,
sort of thing, objective based.
Yeah, in a campaign. But yeah, the campaign is quite interdisciplinary with 3 main contributors: one from programming, one from level design, and art. He's mostly programming, so whenever we need a new engine implementation for the campaign, it normally falls to him. And he did, was it Shallow Water? I think it was Shallow Water,
I think I did it
back in the day to allow both players to cross the water or cross like a stream, and biters as well. I remember that from an earlier Friday Facts as well. And then we got Dominic. So Dominic is just another dev. He's doing a bit of bug fixing, but 2 areas he focuses more on are the fluids and the GUI. He's also fighting on behalf of capitalism in our lunch economic political discussions. Okay, I'm not sure what the reference is for that, but sure. He's, from memory, he's right from the start. He was learning from Kovacs. Yeah, so Dominic's, again, from memory, one of the founding members-ish. And we're hoping he brings us fluid improvements, because going by the last Friday Facts update we had on fluids, it was better for UPS except for junctions, which all refineries are junctions. So unless they magically fix our refineries so we don't need lots of junctions, we don't know what's happening with fluids. Yeah. And we've got Avocado. Okay. So I'm pretty sure he's the Australian one, huh? 2014, I helped found an Australian education company that provides holiday and after-school programs using games as tools for motivation. Factorio is one of those games. When the team posted an opening for a level design to make a new tutorial experience, a friend said, "Ben, you're crazy not to apply." So here I am. He started in early 2018, building a new scenario, act as both the demo and the tutorial plans for the campaign. A larger scope came together shortly afterwards. I try to get involved in any discussions about player experience will affect new players. Removing the pickaxe item was the first suggestion I offered the team to help with new players. Sorry, not sorry.
So it's only sorry, not sorry to the next one down.
Well, look, I like the fact that the pickaxe is gone.
So do I, actually, because it's a relic of where it was derived from Minecraft.
Yeah,
it doesn't belong in the game. It doesn't serve any purpose.
It's funny. I've seen people. Who was it? I was watching another person used to play Factorio religiously and has moved on to other games. Came back to Factorio, upgraded to 17 from 16. The first thing he did was go look to build a pickaxe. I'm like, it's gone. It's gone. You just don't get it anymore. And he was like scratching his head, like, what do you mean I don't have a pickaxe? I'm like, you just don't need it. It just doesn't exist. So. Yeah, we've got Bilka. Now, Bilka is the wiki admin. So, he started playing Factorio before he graduated high school. So, he has to be the youngest member of the team.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, because a lot of the other guys are about our age because they grew up in our sort of era of games. Old, yep. After that, he started playing the game, became the wiki admin over the next year. I got involved in modding, was granted access to the source code of the game. This increased involvement ended up in getting me hired as the wiki admin, and I became part of the team. When he first joined the team, he was just doing the wiki work. At the time went on, he's become interested in playing the game. He started on working on small modding interface requests to get to know C++. He's also done half a dozen mods. He actually did New Game Plus, which lets you launch a rocket and then have the option of restarting a whole new map, carrying over your technology and your inventory, which is how I started my current series, actually, I have everything. I have, all the tech and a decent inventory full of red belts and steel furnaces and even some modules, and started a brand new game like that, which makes a massive difference. And it turns out you can never
helps get you through that slow burner stage.
Yeah, and it turns out you can never bring enough belt with you. I think I brought 1,200 and it was still not enough. I ran out 10 minutes in.
It's very difficult to start with all those items because you've got to put them all down. It also takes like half an hour to put them all down as well. You don't realize how much time and materials goes in.
No, it's because I had power armor, so I had robots. I put down blueprints. All the items disappeared really quickly. That was the problem. Yeah. It all disappeared very, very quickly. And who's this?
Sankey.
Sankey?
Sankey, something like that.
Yeah, has no details whatsoever. So he's done all sorts of things. He looks like he's probably one of the older ones. Maybe this is why he happens to be an owl in real life. So he's a bit of a digital historian, archivist. He takes part in the archive team, which works hard to preserve websites where at risk. You probably something similar to the Wayback Archive. I know. What is it? Wayback Machine? Is that the webpage?
Wayback Machine, yeah, but that's archive team's something different.
It is. I went looking, but it's close to the Wayback Machine. Basically, let's pretend I'm some sort of digital archaeologist. I joined the team a bit over a year ago, and now my responsibility is the technical side of the website, the mod portal, the forums, the wiki, the matching server, lots of the internal stuff. I don't work on the game myself. I leave that to C+ pros. But occasionally he helps playtest. I make a good guinea pig because I haven't played Factorio much at all, but I do love the game. I don't understand how you can not play Factorio much at all. Does that mean he's only got to like triple digits worth of gameplay, not quadruple digits? I don't get that. But yeah, he upgraded the mod portal, which if anybody remembers the old mod portal like a year ago, the search was 50-50. Things wouldn't load. It was absolutely horrible to deal with. The matching server, I don't even remember any problems with the matching server.
It used to randomly time out when you try to join servers. Sometimes you just click and it'd say can't find it. Sometimes the list wouldn't load.
You'd have to hit the refresh button. Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Oh yeah, if you hit the refresh button too many times too fast, it wouldn't load either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So yeah, he's made massive differences. I don't use the forums that much, but I assume they've been overhauled as well. Actually, they have been overhauled. I remember.
They have. I can't remember who did it, if it was him or someone else.
Yeah. So we've got... Go on Google. Ailes. Who has the shortest bio ever. I've been working on graphical design for 30 years. My work on Factorio started by creating the logo type for Woob software and fluently continued by cooperating on the new GUI for Factorio. That's about it. He plays some...
So he's more the... more sort of the business side.
Yeah, he made the Woob, not circuit thingamajiggy bob in the bottom right hand of the logo that we saw, or was it the box art?
Yeah, he would have been responsible for that.
Yeah. Which everybody was 50-50 on whether they loved it or hated it. It was a very even split from memory. And then we got Dominic, who is another VFX artist. He went to art school in Vienna, graduated in my graduate year. A friend of mine got heavily invested in Factorio. We spent more time playing the game instead of actually working on the grad film. We set up meetings to work on our project and worked it a bit, and we'd spend the whole evening playing Factorio. Yes, been there, done that. He joined in late 2018, so he's quite new to the team. He works alongside in VFX alongside some other things, but primarily if it needs to be bleeding, oozing, vomiting, or exploding, that's basically my bit in the team. For me personally,
so he's responsible for the latest thing of the drawing the biter spit and stuff.
From memory, he did all the new biter art. So The
I
new
think so, yeah.
spawners, the new biters, the new spitters, the new worms. Because I actually thought he'd been on the team for a lot longer. Because I remember his name coming up a lot in recent Friday Facts. But no, it turns out he hasn't been on the team for very long at all, and he's done all the lovely biter stuff that makes you just want to kill them all. And this last line got me. For me personally, my favorite part of the game is the art style. Reminds me of 90s games and gives me a very nostalgic feeling, and it does for me too. It's
very much in that aesthetic.
It is. It's got that 90s feel to it, which is not really surprising after reading all their bios and finding out that most of them were playing those 90s RTS, RPG, those sorts of games. But yeah,
what's really interesting as a tangent from that is the biggest shock is that most people these days don't understand that style anymore because they're used to full 3D environments now.
Yeah, which is weird. Well, it's weird from my point of view because, like, Wolfenstein 3D was not 3D. Doom was not 3D. Doom 2 still not 3D. Quake not 3D. Quake 2
was 3D.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
I thought the
That was the
sprites
first.
rotated
That was
with
the
you.
first actual 3D and 3D models and everything.
I thought Quake the monsters still always faced you like they did in Doom.
No, they were 3D models.
Okay, well, there you go. So Quake would have been the first 3D game, which was many, 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 many years ago, like late 90s from memory? Mid 90s?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it was the first, but it was the first that produced it in a complete. One of the first that produced it in a complete pack. Put all the pieces in a box.
Put all the pieces together in one game rather than like Doom had a 3D feel, sort of Wolfenstein, but it was all 2D sprites, like squished and shaped, and to give you the impression of 3D.
Well, there was no concept of height in
Wolfenstein.
Doom had a concept of height, but you couldn't have room over room, that sort of thing.
No, you couldn't have two things occupy the same Z-axis at the same time because there was no real Z-axis. Quake introduced the jump mechanic, so that was technically the first. No, because even in Quake,
there was others, but as I say, it was the first to bring all the pieces together.
Rise of the Triads. Rise of the Triads.
Rise of the Triad is derived from Wolfenstein. It has height, but the height is...
No, Rise of the Triads, you could have two players, one above one another at the same time. Quake, you couldn't. Quake, you could jump up surfaces, but you could not have a bridge and have somebody walk over a bridge and under a bridge.
Yeah, you could. You're thinking of Build Engine, which is Duke 3D, Blood, and so on.
Okay. Okay. Somebody will definitely tell me in the comments whether I'm right or you're right. I don't think that was in Quake. I think that was in Quake 2. I know Rise of the Triads you did because I had a map that I fell in love with that had all that sort of stuff. But then there's other games like Descent, which I'm actually surprised nobody mentioned.
Yeah. Normally that comes up quite a lot.
Because that was, again, 3D. For anybody who hasn't played it, hasn't seen it, it's
a 3D environment. It's one of those...
It's a spaceship in Doom, basically, where you could fly around in all 6 axes.
I'm pretty sure it has slopes, which means it's not Doom.
What do you mean slopes? No. It was like a first-person shooter in a spaceship with full 6-axis control.
Oh yeah, it's 3D space, but I think it was one of those open flight sim type engines which had a plane surface.
What do you mean a plane surface?
A defined surface. I can't think of the best way to describe it. There was 2 different types of engines at the time. There was your 3D one, like your Dooms and your Quakes, which gave you very enclosed, like it couldn't render large areas. It could only render small areas without hitting performance problems.
Yep.
Then you had your open flight sim type engines. And any kind of racing game as well did this. So things like Monster Truck Madness and all the various rallying games.
Yep.
They have some kind of 3D rendered surface, but then you couldn't really have buildings or anything. They would be like fixed objects, or they would be really blocky, built up of basic blocky objects.
Yeah, and
Carmageddon did this too.
Yeah, Carmageddon did it. Oh no, I can't think of it. There was a drag racing game, and I've forgot the name of it. Back in that era as well. Descent
Need for
was
Speed would do. Was
Need
another
for
one I
Speed.
can't
That's
think of.
it. That's it. The original Need for Speed. Oh wow.
Need for Speed 2, Need for Speed, Hot Pursuits. They all did it.
Yep. No,
Yeah,
Descent was of the Doom style, so everything was very, very enclosed. You couldn't have a
would have
large
been its own
open
engine.
space. It was its own engine. Anyway, we're completely sidetracked, which is why you come and listen to our Friday Facts. But
Yeah,
that is
an hour of it.
an hour of it. Yeah, 50 minutes. It's fine. It's fine. But that is Friday Facts 300. whatever I said, 12. 12 is going to be 6 years.
19.
Uh,
27.
Yeah, thanks, Mojo. 312 should be 6 years worth. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting Friday Facts. That's going to be the next big one, I think. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's it. Yes?
Yep, that's it. I
Alright.
think we've covered everything to death.
We've covered everything to death and got completely rolled up in old nostalgia games, which makes me want to break out the GOG webpage and go for a little bit of a wander and a spending spree. Anyway, I'm out. Thank you guys for listening, and me and Mojo, I'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.